So last week when I was doing my own show, actually,
Oh
I
my
spoke
goodness, it felt good.
to.
It felt
This is
good.
great.
It felt good
This
to be
is
back on your own, didn't
Hey, this is a great transition right here. I spoke
it?
to Michael Chandler, Charles Oliveira,
Oh,
and Dustin Poirier. I
oh,
mean, you
fancy
talk
guy,
about
right? Fancy guy talk to everybody. Oh, I talk to this dude, this dude, this dude.
hey, who's
You
who?
are just so boastful. I mean,
Listen,
I tried to get an interview with Dustin Poirier. He told me no. I'm speaking to
oh,
Ariel.
he's not a big fan. He's
Oh
not a
my
big fan.
goodness.
Listen, first I talked to Charles. Charles tells me I want Dustin Poirier, and I want it to be for the belt. I was like, all right, he has a case, 8 in a row, 7 of 8 finishes, most subs ever, all that stuff. He's got a case. Then I talked to Michael Chandler next, and he's like, I was supposed to fight at 258, February 13th. I was like, what, 258? Like literally in less than 2 weeks? He says, yes. They offered me. You're reacting like you haven't seen this. So clearly you boycotted the interview. And he said he was he was
I didn't hear
offered a
this.
fight. He was offered a fight at 258. He was eating a steak with his wife in Nashville, where they live, put his fork down. Shortly thereafter, got on a plane and went to Florida to start preparing for February 13th. Now he wouldn't tell me
Against
who
who?
he wouldn't tell me who it was against. Come to find out, ask around, ask my sources. It was Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira
Oh,
turned it down because they were in need of a co-main event because Chris Weidman and Uriah Hall fell off because Chris got COVID. Oliveira said, I'm not taking this fight on less than 2 weeks' notice. It's not for the belt. What's the point of this? This guy had just been training, short fight against Dan Hooker. I'm not training. This makes no sense. And now we'll get to the Poirier McGregor part in a second. But first, let me ask you this. Agree or disagree with Oliveira's decision to not take the fight?
I think when you get into this position, right, where you've won, you build some momentum, you got to be very careful, especially if you've never fought for the belt.
Tough call,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's I don't believe you do it and it's a favor to the company. But if you don't do it, I believe that Charles Oliveira doesn't know, especially with Michael Chandler, right? Still a bit of an unknown. The way he looked against Dan Hooker, is he still getting better? Especially when you feel like you're right on the verge of getting a title fight. So, not necessarily. I think you got to be a little bit careful, more careful when you've built the momentum that he has.
With my kids, we have like a chart and everyone gets like checks if they do something good and X's if they do something bad, right? And we tally them up at the end of the week and maybe you get a prize or something like that. If Michael Chandler had his own little chart, this guy's been getting checks all day. I mean, he is
Oh
Mr.
yeah, he's
Brownie
the
Points.
man. It is
Michael Brownie Points Chandler. I mean, what a
browning
great
points. Wait,
yes,
that's not browning points. How's that? Listen,
he's the man.
okay,
He's
browning points, but not brown nosing. But
no, I'm saying
people
brownie
get, and
points.
I'm saying people get a bit confused,
No,
right? They
I'm not
go,
saying
"Oh,
brown
he's a
nosing.
brown noser. He's a teacher's pet." No, I've seen that on my stuff. Everybody's on this Michael Chandler thing. He's a teacher's pet. Listen, what is wrong with
He's saying
saying yes
yes.
to something? Yeah, no, I'm not saying you're one of those people. I'm saying I see that. I see that sentiment, right? Like, why? Well, Michael Chandler's a teacher's pet. Michael Chandler's doing what he needs to do first to get his title shot or build good favor. Because guess what? If there's a time, and I don't even understand how people can ever have a problem with this. Michael Chandler goes and fights that fight on 3 weeks' notice, right? He wins, they'll put him in a title fight. He loses, he won't be far away.
Mhm.
Michael Chandler steps up and fights in a short notice position. Dan Hooker, right? Say he would have fought Habib in that situation and lost. Habib would have retired, and they needed somebody to fight for that belt. You know who might get the call again? Michael Chandler.
Of
Because that's
course.
what happens whenever you do that. So people always going, this dude's a company man, and this guy, dude, it benefits you. If I could tell you guys one thing, as fans or fighters, when you're getting asked for stuff, consider it. Because the reality is it's going to benefit you down the line.
Listen, I have lived my entire professional life by this motto. 80% of success is just showing up. Just show
Yeah.
up, right? Listen, I didn't want to get on a plane last week to go do that Bucks game. I was nervous as hell. Hey, by the way, everyone who made fun of me for not leaving my house for 10 months, not only did I leave my house, how many of you have gone on a plane? I told you I was nervous, right? I was
Yeah,
doubting
I
myself.
kind of talk you off the ledge there a little bit. Like
You
we
did.
were scared.
We were scared. We were
We were
scared. But
scared.
guess what? I showed up. I did the
Did it.
job. I came home. So Michael Chandler, I'm not
And you know
knocking
what
the
your
guy.
bosses are saying? You know what your NBA bosses are saying? Hey man, Ariel, we can call on him.
That's right. So I'm
Mhm.
not. By the way, I agree with both decisions. How about that? I
Yeah.
agree with Oliveira saying no, and I agree with Chandler saying yes. How about that? Chandler
I'm
was in
not saying
shape.
that
He
you
was ready to
have
go.
to. I'm saying
But now here's the
consider it.
problem. Here's the problem. Does Oliveira get punished for saying no? Does he get put to the back of the line? Because it
Let
sounds
me
like they
tell you
might be going
something.
in the direction of Chandler Gaethje now, and Oliveira is the odd man out.
And guess what? Sometimes that happens. That's not wrong.
Tough.
Sometimes
8 in a
you
row.
you go in, but no, you go in a different direction. right? Like I'm telling you, man, it's all about just making things happen. One guy says no, then go figure something out. Because it sounds like you said Chandler Gaethje is going to fight next, right? That still ain't for the belt. So they're still in the
No.
same position. They're both just fighting again. If Habib gives the belt up, now who's fighting in the other half of
You,
that
s-
equation to
hey,
go
you
into a
stalled
title
right
fight?
there. You stalled right there. When you said Habib, you took a dramatic pause. What do you
I'm
know?
saying if Habib gives up the belt, right, which is what he's saying, who's in the other half of that equation? Are they going to do uh Gaethje versus Chandler, and then Poirier versus someone else? If you're Oliveira, you hope that you're that someone else. That's all I'm saying.
What do you know, Daniel? What do you
I
know?
know nothing. I know nothing, Jon Snow.